Hello and welcome. My name is Jenneca and I am so excited that you are here because today we are going to be making live fresh wreaths and I cannot wait. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Jenneca and I make home-centered content designed to inspire creativity and resourcefulness. Things like DIY, crafting, decorating, and organization. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, the first thing that we're going to need for our fresh Christmas wreaths are some pine boughs. I stopped at my local Home Depot and Lowe's and picked up free pine clippings. They get these from the bottoms of the trees that they sell in their lawn and garden department. And I just picked through the ones that I thought could be useful. And I stopped at several different stores so I could get a good quantity and variety of pine needles. And they do give these away for free, so just a little heads up, it's a great place to get pine clippings, and it's nice to reuse something that would have just been thrown away. I needed a lot because I'm going to be making several wreaths and actually selling them at a local craft market this weekend. After sorting through my pine branches, I picked the freshest ones and started trimming them away. I wanted to create little clusters and then wire those clusters together. Now, there are a couple things you can do to keep your pine boughs fresh longer. One of those things is soaking them in water for 24 hours before using them, keeping them in a cool, dark place, and misting them with water occasionally. In Utah, where I'm from, it gets really cold in the winter, and so these wreaths should preserve pretty well, especially if they're used outside on a front door or to decorate a house. The wreath frame that I'm using came from Joann's, but you can find them at most craft stores. You can also get smaller ones at the Dollar Tree for pretty cheap, and I just like it because it secures everything really well and makes it easy to shape it according to your design. I wanted mine to be circular wreaths, and so it just simplifies the process and gives a more perfect look at the end. Okay, once I had a cluster of needles that I liked, I just grabbed that bundle and I wrapped some floral wire around it. Now, floral wire, again, you can find at most craft stores. I chose green just so it would blend in with the needles pretty well. And I'm just wiring that really well to the spokes of this wreath frame and making sure it's nice and secure. I repeated that step over and over again all the way around the wreath. I did make sure all the needles were pointing up, and so it looked like they were flowing in one continuous circle. Growing up, my parents always taught us that one of the symbols of the Christmas wreath is the eternal loop that it makes, how it goes around and around without end. And as a Christian who celebrates Christmas, we always talked about the parallel that has to Jesus Christ and how he goes on without end. And so I think wreaths are really meaningful. They're a special way to decorate a door for Christmas, and even if you're not Christian or this doesn't resonate with you, they are just a beautiful addition to any home. One thing you can do if you want a little bit more variety in your wreath is, while you still keep the needles pointing up and flowing in one direction, you can flip the branch upside up on the opposite side, because on the opposite side of the branch the needles are a little bit softer green, kind of almost like a bluish green color, and if you alternate which side you have showing, oftentimes this creates some variety in your greenery. Next, I grabbed some battery-operated indoor-outdoor lights. It's important if you're going to hang a wreath on the front door and you have an area that does get moisture or is exposed to the elements, that you think about using lights that are outdoor compatible. I got these at Joann's, and it's nice because they are battery operated, but they actually have a timer so they can turn on and off by themselves. I got them on Black Friday for about $10 and I was really happy with them. Next, I used the lights and just wound them in between the branches. I didn't go all the way around the wreath because I didn't want to waste lights on the back of the wreath. So instead, I've just wove them in between branches, securing them well as I went. And as long as you weave them pretty thoroughly, they should stay. I didn't have to use wire to get mine to be pretty secure. So again, I just wove those all the way around the entire wreath. In the past, I have foraged or gathered different types of greenery or florals to add to my wreaths, but this time I was mass producing wreaths because I was going to sell them, and so I wanted a lot, and I also really wanted to add eucalyptus, which is just not really something you find much around here, so I went to Trader Joe's. I actually went to Smith's first and got some greenery, but it ended up being so much more expensive and just worse quality than what I found at Trader Joe's, so I took it back. So Trader Joe's really is the way to go if you need to get some greenery really quick, or you could visit a local plant store or floral shop as well. I got 3 different types of eucalyptus and 1 baby's breath, and these 4 bouquets lasted me for about 3 different wreaths, and I did that multiple times. So I averaged out that I spent about $4 total on each wreath and greenery, which really isn't too bad. I got the lights on a Black Friday sale. They're normally $20. I got them for $10, and I think my big wreath frames cost me about $3, and my smaller ones cost me $1.25 from Dollar Tree. So depending on the size of the wreath, it averaged out to be just over $14, $15, not too expensive, especially when you look at how much it costs to buy a real live wreath. Of course, it is time consuming, very time consuming, so I'll be selling my wreaths for a lot more than what I spent on them because there is that element of time and craftsmanship, but if you wanted to make one yourself, you could save a lot of money. Again, if you foraged for your own plants, if you had the types of plants you wanted, you could save even more money and do this almost for free, especially if you didn't add lights. So you can really fit this project within any budget. I used about 3 to 4 sprigs from each bundle per wreath, and I just spread those out throughout the wreath and kind of staggered them, and then in between I filled in with a different type of eucalyptus. And so I'm just kind of alternating types of eucalyptus throughout the wreath and trying to fill in some of that greenery. I really like having variety in wreaths, and obviously there are a million ways you could create your wreath. You could have it have a lot more reds and bright colors, or you could keep it more of those natural greens and neutrals. You could add sparkles, you could flock it, you can add pine cones or other decor to it. So it really is up to your imagination. On Instagram recently, I have seen people putting baby's breath in their Christmas trees, and I think it is breathtaking, to say the least. So I thought it would be fun to add to my wreaths. Baby's breath is a fun floral to use because it doesn't wilt or rot like other flowers do. It'll dry really nicely, and it'll last throughout the Christmas season. So even though it will slightly turn brown, it'll still look good in the wreath. I used about 3 to 4 bushels of that baby's breath throughout each wreath. Obviously for my bigger wreaths I needed a little bit more, and my smaller wreaths needed a little bit less, but I just made sure that they were kind of evenly spaced throughout the entire wreath. My husband was really sweet and took it upon himself to help me with the citrus that I wanted to add to the wreaths, so he set out to discover the best way to dry citrus. He tried some in the oven and the air fryer, and he reported back to me that the air fryer was in fact his favorite method. He dried these for about 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours on 135 degrees. They turned out better than the oven just because the oven kind of browns the fruit a little bit more, whereas in the air fryer they seemed to keep their color better. And he did lemons, limes, grapefruit, and oranges, and they turned out beautifully. He even took this video for me so that I could add it to this video that I'm sharing with you guys. I grabbed a piece of citrus and just poked a wire through that and then wired it onto my wreath. I again staggered these throughout. I put on all of the grapefruit first. I did about 3 to 4 grapefruit per wreath, and then I went in with the oranges and then the smaller lemons and limes to fill in the gaps, and this is how it turned out overall. I did some smaller ones that worked better for our front door, as well as these larger ones that would work well for a larger front door. I think the variety of greenery and baby's breath combined with the citrus is just such a timeless and old-fashioned look, and I really love these wreaths, not to mention the fact that they smell amazing. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and join us for future videos, because I have so much more Christmas content coming your way. With the holidays upon us, I have so many crafting, DIY, gift giving, and decorating ideas, so stay tuned and I will see you in the next video.